I want to talk about something that I wish that I had heard a long time ago, and it's really a lesson I've only recently integrated. It has to do with how to move past a lot of these heavy feelings that come with feeling like you're not where you're supposed to be in life. And this can be very challenging because not only do we have cultural expectations for where we think we're supposed to be, we have our own familial expectations, we have our own personal expectations, and more than ever before, we are surrounded by comments and opinions of thousands of people through social media. Whereas before, it's like we really only had our neighborhood or our general community. And now it feels like if we are not where we think we're supposed to be, like the whole world is somehow judging us or has eyes on us. And something I realized was the first step into really confronting this and moving past it is to be really honest with yourself. Don't try to make excuses. Don't try to go into denial. Trust me, I've been there. Be honest and say, here's the problem. This is not where I want to be right now. I don't need to attach any specific internalizations to that. So, for example, if you're like, I'm not where I wanted to be in my career right now, you can state that as a fact, as a true, honest fact, but you don't need to attach anything to that. Like, that means this about me. Because I'm not here, that means I am a failure. No, we don't need that. We just need acknowledgement of the truth. Because if we are able to confront the truth of these situations, it's going to be a lot less triggering when other people point out these things to us or make comments that are hurtful, because you've already recognize that within yourself. You already know that's not where you're supposed to be. So it's not like you're walking around afraid of all of these mirrors around you, afraid of any potential triggers or anyone pointing out something that you are ashamed of, because you have already accepted it and acknowledged it within yourself. So how could someone shame you for something that you have already accepted? And that doesn't mean that you can't grieve or feel bad about it. This is not about denying your emotions, but it's about taking away the power that other people have over you when it comes to these things. It's very easy to feel the weight of the world when we're not where we want to be in life, and we feel like everyone is judging us. We feel like, I don't want this and this person to point this out. I don't want someone to bring this up because it's going to be really upsetting to me. It's like we just have to make peace with that fact and kind of stand rooted in where we're at and say, yeah, I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be. You know, it's like I don't need to give power to anyone else to upset me in that way, because I've acknowledged it and I don't need to attach anything to it. And another thing is, you don't have to accept other people's opinions or judgments into you, into your being, into your body, if that makes sense. I know that that is easier said than done, but I like to take a step back and kind of reflect, do I really value what this person is saying to me? Do I really respect this person's opinion? Because if you don't, why take on that judgment? Why internalize something from someone who you don't even respect? And I guess the counter argument to this is like, well, what if it is someone that I do respect? Well, I think that if it's someone you truly, truly respect, this is likely going to be a person that would not criticize you in a way that shames you. Because if they're doing that, are they really worthy of your respect? Anyone who would put you down in that way, I mean, that's just something to think about. And that's different than kind of just bringing up a fact, right? Like, it's okay if someone comes up and they're like, hey, you know, I noticed you're kind of stuck right now, and they're talking about it with you. There's a big difference between that and someone being like, you know, you need to get your act together. Like, you're this and this and this. You're like acting like a failure. You know, just totally separate things. Shame in any form often leads to concealment. We feel like we need to hide our emotions, our situation. We feel like we can't be fully authentic and show up with where we're actually at. But there's a certain kind of power in just acceptance. There's a certain kind of power in saying, you know what? I don't feel shame from what you're saying because I know that that's true and I know where I'm not supposed to be or where I feel like I'm supposed to be, but shame is not going to get me where I'm supposed to be. I'm not motivated by shame. In fact, I'm shut down by shame. It's something that's very paralyzing to feel. And I think if more people realize that, they would be less likely to try to motivate people in that way. And there is a sort of power in also recognizing that your path is your own. There is no supposed to be. Really, the only thing that matters is where you are. That's the truth. You don't need to think about the possibilities, where you should be, where you could have been, blah, blah, blah. No, what matters right now is in this present moment where you are at, and you're working from there, and holding on to any other kind of what if or shoulds is just going to hold you back and paralyze you and prevent you from stepping into who you could be, because we can only work from where we are at. We cannot work from potentials and shame and all of this stuff. It's just not going to be fruitful in any sense of the word. And does it suck if someone is asking you something that is going to bring up a triggering topic because that situation didn't work out the way you wanted it to? Yeah, it absolutely is. It's going to suck a lot. But this is something that's going to help us build up greater tolerance for in the future for anything that we're dealing with. We need to be able to be rooted and grounded in our own sense of self. And sometimes I like to think of these things as challenges that are helping me grow into the best version of myself. If no one was challenging me in this way, if I was constantly in my comfort zone, how would I have grown? How would I have learned these lessons? So instead of taking things personally, I kind of think, you know what? Thanks. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to stand rooted in who I am, to prove how far I've come. And it doesn't have to be an overnight thing. This is a process. And really, the biggest thing that you can offer yourself is compassion and awareness in the present moment of what is true for you, not what's true for someone else, not what could have been true for you, not the past, truly just focusing on this is where I am at. I have no other choice but to accept this. And from this, I am going to take steps to move forward. And it's really as simple as that. And I want to emphasize that, once again, this is not something that happens overnight. It's often a process. So I have often had to go through many experiences of feeling this deep shame, of feeling paralyzed, of just feeling collapsed, of just wanting to go into complete avoidance mode and isolation because I didn't want to be triggered in any way. I didn't want anyone to bring out the things that I wasn't willing to face within myself. And it just led me further and further and further down that hole. It finally reached a point where I had come to my breaking point. It was starting to affect my friendships and relationships that I really, really valued. And I'm like, okay, am I going to let this shame prevent me from having these friendships, from having these experiences? No, I put my foot down and I was like, that's it. I am not going to stand for this. I deserve better than this feeling in my body. I deserve to move past this. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. And we often have to be brought to this breaking point to finally change. And so it's not something that is easy. It comes with its tests and its challenges. But when you are finally able to accept that and move forward, it is huge. That is that kind of strength that you build from that is something that stays with you. It stays with you for a long time, and it is powerful.